Let me ask you, how many times have you wanted to start something new, but got stuck waiting for that perfect moment? Maybe you've got a business idea, a creative project, or even just a new habit you want to build. But there you are, frozen by analysis, paralysis, and the myth of flawless beginnings. I know this feeling all too well. Years back, I spent months tweaking my website banner instead of actually launching my service. Sound familiar? We obsess over optimization and aesthetics, but forget that momentum only comes from motion, not from waiting for the stars to align. Now, you might be thinking, but what if I look unprofessional or make a mistake? Here's the truth. Even the best creators started with rough drafts and awkward first tries. Think of minimum viable product. That's just a fancy term for starting with good enough and improving as you go. Instead of letting perfectionism stall your dreams, what if you reframed failure as feedback? Imagine if Thomas Edison waited for his light bulb to be flawless before sharing it. Sometimes a messy start is the only way to find your flow. So, my challenge to you, choose progress over perfection. Set a timer for 10 minutes and take the smallest possible step toward your goal. You'll be amazed how quickly that first imperfect action leads to real momentum. Let me tell you a story. When I was at my lowest motivation, I did something radical. I started recording voice notes just for myself. No scripts, no audience, just my phone and my raw thoughts. It felt strange at first, but it was the breakthrough I didn't know I needed. Why does this work? It's about creating a sandbox environment, a safe space to experiment without fear of judgment. In software, developers use sandboxes to test new code without risking the whole system. Your voice notes are your personal sandbox for ideas. You might be thinking, but what if I sound awkward? That's exactly the point. Private practice gives you permission to be rough, to stumble, and to discover your authentic voice without external pressure. After a week of this, I realized my best ideas only surfaced when I stopped filtering myself. The act of speaking, not just thinking, unlocked clarity. It's like running a diagnostic check on your internal operating system suddenly. You see what's working and what needs fixing. Try this tonight. Record a 2-minute voice note about your biggest goal. Don't rehearse, don't edit, listen back, and notice what surprises you. That's where personal growth starts in private, before you go public. Let's address a big misconception. Most people think motivation comes first, then action, but science says otherwise. Behavioral psychologists call this activation energy, the minimum effort required to get started. Turns out, once you take the tiniest step, motivation follows. I used to wait around for the right mood to hit before working on my projects. Spoiler, it rarely showed up. But the moment I committed to a daily voice note, rain or shine, everything shifted. The consistency became my catalyst. Now you might be asking, how do I keep going when I don't feel like it? Here's my answer. Lower the barrier. Make your action so easy you can't say no. Habit stacking is a technical term for pairing a new habit with an existing one. For example, recording your note right after your morning coffee. The conflict comes when life gets busy or self-doubt creeps in. But here's the resolution. Treat your small action as non-negotiable. Over time, you'll rewire your brain's neural pathways. Think of it as compound interest for your habits. So, start with one micro action today. Let the act itself, not your mood, become your momentum engine. You'll be shocked how quickly these small steps add up to massive growth. So you've built momentum in Private 10. What? The next leap is sharing your journey. And this is where transformation accelerates. Public accountability is like a feedback loop in engineering. Your ideas get tested, refined, and strengthened by real-world responses. I remember my first time posting a voice note-inspired insight online. It was nerve-wracking. My inner critic screamed, "What will people think?" But the response was overwhelmingly positive. People resonated with the rawness, not the polish. You might be thinking, but what if I'm not ready? Here's the reality. No one ever feels 100% ready. The process of sharing, whether it's a tweet, a blog, or a podcast, forces you to clarify your message and own your story. It's like the principle of iterative prototyping in Designevry version gets better as you learn from feedback. Don't wait for perfection. Let your audience witness your evolution. They'll root for your growth, not your flawlessness. So, this week, share something you created privately. Start small, maybe a lesson learned from your voice notes. Trust Metha's smallest public step can lead to your biggest breakthrough.